All right. Hey, we're here with Recruitemy member Sharuk. Sharuk, how you doing?
Hey, Russ, doing well. How are you?
Doing really good. Thanks so much for being here today and doing this. And yeah, I just wanted to speak with you, really about your experience in about just over a month now that it's been since you joined the Recruitemy program. If you could kind of speak to the audience about, what you've experienced so far, what brought you to the program, where were you before this, and kind of what you're looking to do. You can talk about your recruiting niche and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I do tech recruiting in US. My niche is focused on cybersecurity and AI engineering, ML engineering. That's essentially my vertical. And I've been in business for almost 7 years now. Had 7 years of experience. Went on my own about a year ago, and within the last year, I just like growing pains. I started off really, really well and did really well, but then all of a sudden I hit plateau and needed assistance and guidance, and that's when Russ I came across your program, and since that time I was just trying to contemplate. And prior to you, I've used other mentorship programs too, but the kind of support and direction I got directly from you was just phenomenal, and it has allowed me just within the week to a month to see results that I hadn't seen in months. So that part is super exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, number one, I've been so impressed with your work ethic. I think for me, in the 3.5 years that I've owned Recruiting Me, there's been a big distinction or separation from those who really succeed and the ones who don't. And the common denominator or characteristic that I see in those who do succeed are the ones who do the work, right? Roll up your sleeves. You have accountability every week. You've been so disciplined and you've been working your tail off. And I've seen that on the coaching calls. You've spoken to that. So kudos to you. I think that's awesome. That's a recipe for success. And so can you maybe talk to the short-term success that you've experienced so far since being in the program?
Yeah, I mean, it does come up down to discipline and just making sure that you're waking up in the morning and writing down what your goals are and really sticking to it. And because in the end, as much as we rely on motivation, some days we don't have the motivations to do it. And that's when our habits or our tasks is what gets us going. And that has allowed me to come in every day and just put in the work and have faith and belief that the results will come only if I put in and make the efforts that I need to consistently. So that has helped me quite a bit. I still remember one of my first conversations I had with you, and kind of stuck to me the rest. You're like, "Sure, this is what I need you to do, and I want you to do it every single day." And I literally wrote that down in my notebook that day on our first call, because that just was like, okay, well, now I also have somebody else that is also holding me accountable in a way where I'm gonna catch up with you every week, and you're gonna ask me how my week was, and I have to tell you in front of other colleagues that like how I did and what my progress is. So all those things actually just also played a really good role in like gave me extra motivation that I needed to get going.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're like a lot of people that come into our program where you're still kind of doing something on the side, if I'm not mistaken, right? And while you're getting the recruiting company off the ground, getting your systems and processes in place and doing the outreach. That's the case with you too, from what you shared with me, right?
Absolutely, yes. So I have some other things going on the side that just kind of keeps me afloat as I just continue to grow my business on the recruiting side. And fingers crossed, my goal is to make this a full-time gig.
Yeah. How many hours a week would you say that you're allocating towards just the recruiting efforts right now?
So I work a lot. So I do put in 30 to 40 hours. I'll be honest about that. And
Yeah.
I think that it does require that kind of attention early on, because you're just setting up your roots, you're setting up your bases, you're letting people know who you are, that you exist. And it is a market that is saturated. So you just have to make sure that you're somebody that keeps popping up and people know who you are by your name, by the experience on the conversations, by the content you're posting and the messages you're sending, which are all the things that I've also gotten a really good playbook through you guys through attending the classrooms.
Yeah, yeah, Sharuk, don't make any apologies for working a lot of hours. That's what it takes in the beginning, especially. I get that question a lot, like, hey, how many hours do I need to allocate towards this? It's a little bit scary when I get that question. It kind of shows me that someone might be treating it as a part-time job or a hobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more hours you can put into any new business, obviously the better. It's a pretty no brainer in my opinion. But I tell people, at least 10 hours a week. Anything more that you can do is going to be icing on the cake and a bonus.
Yeah,
But good stuff. Can you quickly share with me? I want to jump into two things and we'll wrap it up.
yeah.
What's your experience been like with the live coaching calls that we do every week? There's three of them between Gemma and myself. Maybe talk to that.
I mean, I think those are really useful calls because we can come in, we can ask you any kind of questions we want to ask you. And I think even though the days and weeks I might not have questions, I will still show up because when other people ask questions, you just get to learn so much from that. And you also share different tools, different ideas that could work, that don't work, that are also useful. And Gemma is really good at doing such things as well. So overall, I just recommend those. And I think that they are the kind of calls that also kind of keep you going because look, like when you're starting something new, it is tough, it is kind of lonely, and you're trying to make this part-time thing a full-time thing. So you come here, you see this, like there's a tribe of people that are just like you, that are just kind of on the same level, and they all are there to help each other, support each other, and get guidance from you guys that have been in business for 20 plus years. So that all is extremely useful.
That's a good lead into my next question for you. I think it's pretty normal and okay for people to have fear, maybe anxiety of the uncertain. They know that they want to start a recruiting company. What were your fears? And maybe like what can you tell someone who's watching this video who's like maybe in a corporate job right now, not happy, not being able to make the money they want to make, and really wants to take that leap?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that will scare anybody away is the economy, right? Like everybody's like, "Oh, the economy is bad. Like right now is not a good time to take any risks." And I truly do believe that for myself that the reason I'm going to be successful is because I'm learning how to develop skill sets in this economy. Because when things are tough, and that's when you start businesses, you learn how to weather through these storms. And if you can do this successfully, then after that, when things get better, you're only going to be that much more successful. So for me, my decision was, okay, this is a good time to build a skill set that is going to help me improve my craft and let me to the segue where people will continue to know me and build a brand that I'm looking to build. And of course, with the guidance and the support I have with you guys, it just allows me to just give me the faith and the confidence I need when I'm lacking it too. That, okay, well, you got it. These are the tools. This is how you should approach things, and then keep going. And I know in the long run, the goal is for this to grow up 10x. So I'm working towards that.
That's awesome. I know you were one of the first members that did the trial for basically our cold call bomb product that we put into place just about a month ago. Speak to that experience. Now, before we go there, we do have automated systems, obviously, that you're using, like Recruitemy LeadCast and the customized ATS, which are great. But at the end of the day, look, you have to pick up the phone and talk to people and cultivate relationships and recruiting and staffing to really grow your business. That's never going to change. And this product that we have, maybe speak to that, like what you did, how many people you put into the queue, and what the results were.
Yeah, so this was awesome. This was something that this product came up on one of our calls because Gemma, who's one of the people that holds one of the weekly calls, she used it. She introduced it. It was awesome, and she spoke really highly of it. We did a demo. It's all exciting things, and I was just such a fan because I love talking to people. I like meeting people, and essentially that's how I feel like it's a natural way of doing business, anyways. So I did the demo where I was told that, hey, look, like for minimum 3 hours to as many hours you would like in a day, which is up to 8 hours, try our product out, see if you like it or not, and we'll go from there. So I uploaded about 2,300, I'm sorry, 1,200
Yeah.
leads in total. And that was the size of the leads that I put in. And what the product did was that it was automatically calling those people and only connecting me to folks that were actually the right decision makers. Now, I know there are a lot of products that do similar things, but this product is really niche, and I've never seen any product that actually operates and works the way it did. So from there, I was just working and I was waiting, and at first it took me a minute to get my drift on, but once I had it, I was in my mojo, and I spent 6.5 hours that day going through all 1,200 calls, and then I did a little bit of repeat towards the end, it was great. I actually connected with 45 people. I had 45 conversations in total. Out of those, I had like 4 leads that I personally call as like real leads, where people did say, "Hey, send me your information," but we had a 20-minute dialogue about my services, what we do, how I do it. And then they're like, you know what, send me your information. I'm going to connect you with the HR. I'm going to connect you with this person to basically help you get going. So it
Yeah.
led into one follow-up coffee meeting that I had last Wednesday. So that was also pretty cool. So, things are just kind of moving along, and there's momentum in all of these places. So I'm just hoping for these to just turn into hopefully something.
That's pretty cool. So as you're sitting at your desk doing, obviously working on your recruiting company, working on your other jobs or companies that you have, you've got 1,200 decision makers at companies that are loaded up into the queue. It's dialing, dialing, dialing. When somebody answers, it notifies you right away on your screen, and you're able to kind of take that conversation over. You had 45 of those in one day, right?
Yes. And
That's
it's
amazing.
that's a lot of calls, right? Because nobody
Yeah,
can ever make 1,200 calls as is
right.
alone. So the fact that we were able to do that and actually speak to 45 humans that
Yeah,
were actually decision makers while you're doing that, while you're still running your other things, you're still going on with your day. I just had my screen on one side, and I was just like sending emails. I was messaging people and doing other things that I had to
yeah,
do. So it is very easy for anybody who could potentially do somewhat of multitasking, because as soon as you hear them say, "Hey, we just kind of connected to you," you're like, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Sharuk. I'm XYZ."
right.
You just kind of go into your groove. So it was amazing. It was actually a pretty amazing experience. So I'm looking forward to utilizing that product and continue to use it.
Me too. I'm excited about it. I'm hoping more members will start using it and kind of give their stories like you're doing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like better than cold email, right? Like you're actually talking to people. And I know back in the day when I started in recruiting, like in the 90s, I had to make 100, I had to make 100 cold calls a day. I mean, heck, if I had to make 100 manual cold calls a day and 45 people answered, that would be a spectacular day. The fact that you're
Absolutely.
loading up 1,200 automation is, that's awesome. Great results. Well, Sharuk, thank you so much for being here and sharing your, your short-term experience so far in Recruitemy. Is there anything else you want to add before we end here?
Uh, Thank you for accepting me in the program, to be honest, and providing me the guidance and the coaching that I needed. Because, as a recruiter, you just think that you know a lot, but then when you transition and you're just doing something on your own, it just changes it from, building the website to write messaging to send the right kind of way to invoices. There's so much value in your program that allows anybody who has maybe some idea to no idea to just kind of sign up and just get what it needs, whatever they may need. And all I have to say is, like, anybody who's considering joining, you have to put in the time. So just go in and putting the time to watch the videos, show up on the calls, and just ask the questions. If you don't have any questions, still show up and listen to other people, because you just adopt and learn, and you just don't know what you're gonna hear and what you're gonna find out.
Sharuk, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be part of the scaling of your recruiting agency and see all your success. I know it's going to be a home run.
Thanks so much, Russ. Thanks for having me.